Well, hello, creatives community and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. Of course, I am your host, DBJ, and all of you who are able to take part live in this show as we air 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course, are our co-hosts. And again, taking another filter from the Fermi Paradox, we're going to talk about technological time bombs. Now, the Fermi Paradox is a thought process in which, when we math things out, we should see alien life in our universe, our galaxies, and many galaxies beyond. But we have zero evidence of alien life, and why is that? Well, there are a number of filters, essentially ideas that say to us, well, the reason why, despite having trillions upon trillions of opportunities for life, we don't see it. And one of those filters is known as a technological time bomb. So we're going to have some fun with this to use the reasons why we don't see aliens as our own world building fuel and story ideas, and kind of have some fun with this. So thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Hey, Drew. Hey, we're all gonna die. Yeah, baby. Um, oh wow, very quick here. Deadman says Eclipse Phase talked about dangerous unknown tech and dealing with it in the gate crashing source book. I don't have that one. A 4-step process. Okay, identify. Let's just put this up here. So identify. All right, and then identify the interface. Okay, maybe visual or able to plug it in your mind, or visual or something. All right, interface with it and get the device to do what you want. Yeah, because the interface might be like a computer. It might just be a keyboard, or you might have to plug it into your brain or something like that, or it operates on pheromones. I don't know. We don't see aliens because they have blocked us in their social media. Yeah, yeah. We don't realize that neutrinos are their social media feeds, and they're laughing at us the entire time. Yep, yep, yep. They're getting so much clout. You know what? There's the sarcasm in that. There's some truth to that. I think that might be a filter in a certain way. I mean, there is the idea of alien societies. Not we don't see them because they're just like, nah, you don't deserve to see us yet. The Federation in Star Trek kind of does that, where they're like, we're going to remain invisible, even though never works out that way. We're going to remain invisible to this alien life. But technological time bombs. So the idea behind the technological time bombs is that as a um, as a side effect of gaining more technological advancement in a society, that there comes a point at which essentially we annihilate ourselves. We knock ourselves back to the Stone Age, or completely annihilate life as that society has known it. And so we don't and relating it to ourselves as an example of one. Yeah, yeah, as an example of one, we are trying to reach towards the stars, but the more we advance in technology to allow us to reach toward the stars, leave our planet to go try to populate other planets, the theory is there's a greater propensity of us coming with other technology that will wipe us out. And to be honest with you, even in our own day and age, we do see a lot of examples of like tech getting out of control. And I don't think it's because of the technology itself. It's of course because of bad actors. And we now have the ability to have the smallest number of bad actors, meaning a person of one, to have the greatest harm against a larger group of people. And it used to not be that way, but technology gets better, and then you see how people use and abuse the tools that we have, and you realize like one person can affect the lives of thousands, tens of thousands, and maybe even hundreds of thousands or millions. So yeah, and like Deadman says, the factors in eclipse phase use pheromone tech, which is a little hard to understand, I think, for us. I think there might be some humans that would could interface that way and get used to it, but for us regular folks, we're just like, wait, what? All I do is smell farts. And they're just like, I'm having a full conversation with you, buddy. Oh man. All right. Now we may have to define what is a technological time bomb. So is this just a theoretical thought, like um disparate information put together to make us think that there will be a downfall? Is this like a police force? Meaning, like, will the player characters are the player characters operating philosophically? Like, we need to control or put a limit to that technology because evidence shows that people have made these mistakes before, but we're just kind of eyeballing it. Now, it could be more specific, like for example, if the player characters operate as a enforcement arm, it could be your top 10, and I know Deadman knows these. It could be your top 10 existential technological threats, maybe, and then the PCs just police those things. So for an example, we for in our real life, we have like drug enforcement agency here in the States, and there are specific drugs listed on that list that they police, and that over time we remove and or add drugs to that enforcement rule. And so maybe in a technological time bomb, it may be something like um, creating artificial black holes, or von Neumann nanotech, which is nanotech that is able to replicate itself uncontrollably. Maybe there are limits to um, illegally downloading and altering people's minds. Maybe it's a limit on, like, for example, we have a nuclear proliferation treaties, and how many, if any, you're able to get, and trying to keep nuclear energy out of the hands of certain countries. And if you take that further, it could be anything from power armor to fusion tech to um, creation of AI, or AI without some kinds of limiting factors. And some of these policies. Yeah, Drew says, I will not police anything. I will not become a fascist system. Yes, until we realize that we love our freedoms and freedoms for everyone until those freedoms impinge on our own. So the very moment someone says, like, an individual now could in their basement operate a CRISPR system which affects DNA, and they could literally modify like a virus or a bacterium that could uh, pinpoint specific groups of people in our society that could get sick off of something, right? It's the idea of, here in the States, we have known as lone gunmen, lone shooters, lone actors. And in the very past, maybe someone could get a sharp knife or a sword or a spear or something, and they would only be able to harm so many people. But as technology has gotten better, we have explosives and large vehicles and things like that. And um, even getting to the point where we have hackers and hacker communities, and just individuals that love to um, sow chaos. So there are some people who are hackers that just want to be able to sow chaos. They don't even have a point except to disrupt medical files, or we've seen in movies where there's a bad actor that changes red lights, green lights in traffic to try to get as much people to crash into each other and things like that. Sending people false information about their medical histories and things. There are in very insidious ways to use technology to affect a large portion. And even now, using emulators, there's not really AI, but using language emulators to have phone calls and emails sent, text messages sent to people that sound and even look like their friends and or relatives, to get them to give up their money and things of that nature. And of course, we have our ability to affect people's emotions based on like politics and religion and economics and things like that, to get people to do those things. Yeah, Drew says bioweapons are pure insanity. Whatever virus you would design can mutate and then kill people you did not intend. Exactly. I listen. I understand the idea of someone wants to transform the world and society by using a virus or a bacteria to eliminate some and keep others alive. But they're, like you said, they're the worst weapons in the world. If you wanted to use a weapon, they're the worst weapons in the world to use, because it, viruses are always mutating. No matter what you do to it, it's going to mutate itself anyway. Life begets life, right? So it will unintentionally begin. Not only will it kill people you didn't intend to, it will absolutely positively backfire on yourself, no matter where you release it in the world, because by the time you release it, it'll mutate to save itself, to propagate its own life, and you may not be able to get a cure for it. So yeah, bioweapons are horrible weapons. Now, technologically speaking, maybe someone wants to, do the proverbial nuke it from orbit, and nuke, what is it, nuke them till they glow and let God sort them out, kind of thing. And I can see, like, even today, I can see people going like, technological time bombs. Yeah, we're surrounded by technological time bombs. You get a very dangerous tech in the hands of the wrong person. Now, um, further into the technological time bomb, maybe, and I don't know how true this would be, but it, could we mathematically figure out a, what do I say? I guess it would be related to Minority Report, where you have a pre-crime element that gives the players maybe information from whatever um, organization that they work for, that they don't know what technology is out there. They only know, mathematically speaking, they can generally pinpoint a region where that technology will spike, and then it's up to the players to investigate what's happening, which maybe the players are following like oracles or very advanced AI systems that, like, kind of don't, they kind of speak in riddles. um, there was a television show known as Person of Interest, and during that television show, yeah, Dead Man said, yep, Fringe covered it very much so. Well, actually, Fringe is really good. It felt like Fringe went off the airs, but they reined it back in towards the last season. I think they did. Yeah, the TV show Fringe covered loads of this tech stuff, and it's possible that maybe the technology is already in the hands of people that's getting out of control, or they receive reports from individuals that are like, listen, we were just trying to, I don't know, technologically create immortality, and somebody's using it in the wrong way. I need your help to shut them down. But again, there could be like a predictive factor that, mathematically speaking, we don't understand why. We just know the results. Like, we if we put the maths together, we know that within 4 hours and 68 minutes in this particular zone of Mars, that there'll be some kind of technological spiking. And the players arrive, but they don't see anything. And they're like, okay, is it going to arrive from the outer atmosphere through the thin carbon dioxide atmosphere? Is there something underground? Will there be a confluence of criminals or pirates or something that we don't know? And that might be, I mean, tabletop role playing games, that may be acceptable within the group. From us armchair individuals thinking about tech time bombs, we might not accept the fact that you could just like, it seems a little too magical to have like an oracle that goes, well, we can pinpoint the area where there'll be danger. We just don't know what the danger is. Um, in the television show Person of Interest, it began as um, individuals are receiving like numbers, like a time and date, and the characters are there to solve a problem, but it was given to them by an AI system that's able to use like social security numbers and time and date to, and then that's all they were given. It was like the barest minimum information. You got a person, you got a location, that's it. And then suddenly someone would get hit by a car, or they would get sick and pass out, or they would get robbed, or um, just something of that nature would happen. They get past I don't know, unknown, illegal, or encrypted information. And then our main character is like, okay, we got to, is this person in danger? Are they the criminal? Don't know. And that'd be kind of a cool, I think it would be kind of a cool adventure idea that you're given a location and an NPC, and that's it. And then you have to figure out what to stop or not stop or something like that. And it could be very ephemeral, like this idea was used in the second Terminator movie, where Sarah Connor and the larger family thereof confront the scientist who hasn't yet analyzed the data from the artifacts from the very first Terminator movie. And they go into and they basically explain to him, like, listen, you're a brilliant dude. You in the future, you're going to analyze this and create Skynet. And he's just like, really? I am? And then he believes it. But there may be something like that where to stop the tech time bombs, it's like, no, you guys are going to create a black hole and it's going to swallow half the earth, and 8 billion people are going to die on that side of the earth, as well as eliminating life in the rest of the universe. We need to stop you. And this person may be going like, I was writing on the back of a napkin having a meal. What do you mean? And they say, listen, in 7.6 years you are going to create a black hole. And I'm like, well, I was thinking about it, but now that you brought it up, maybe I will think about doing, and there could be that weird conundrum of like of uh predicting your own downfall, where it's like you know uh, it's um the strangeness of a person being told by an oracle about their future, and their actions make that future happen because they learned about their future. Had they not known, maybe that act wouldn't happen, but now that they know, maybe that thing will. um Also, plug talking about Obsidian Star and this table hard sci-fi tabletop game. There is some technological fantasyisms, and it's possible that a tech time bomb may be messing with things that we don't completely understand. Some would say today that messing with um, using the colliders that exist around the world, trying to yes, definitely self fulfilling prophecies, right there, Drew. Yes, self fulfilling prophecies are definitely a thing, a thing that makes like a dark turn in the story, where you tell someone, you know, if you go to the left, there's a 100% chance you'll die. So the person does everything in their power never to go left, and the act of not going left makes them go right, which makes other people wonder why they don't want to go left, and then something happens and they take them left. You're like, why don't they want to go left to the left? They're turning their life upside down just to go right. I don't see what the big deal is, or that kind of thing. And I know it's deeper than that, but it's possible that the technological time bomb could happen simply because of like an AI oracle whose purpose was to stop this thing, and then has literally given people information about a thing that they were supposed to stop, and that person goes, well, I never considered making trying to artificially make black holes, but now that you bring it up, and then all of a sudden it's like Warehouse 13, right? Or a number of television shows where the players, the main characters, are now trying to put the thing back in Pandora's box. So that technology could have been stolen, or handed out, or again, maybe ultra. ultra freedom fighters that are like everyone should have information everywhere could have like hacked something and released valuable information that's out there in the wilds, and now the players are trying to bring it back. Um, maybe also it has nothing to do with the technology itself. It's just going after the bad actors. So the players could literally be fringe. Go back to fringe. Fringe elements, because we can bring up some story ideas from fringe. Maybe the players are part of a fringe element. Not associated with any government, any criminal organization. They're just living on the fringes of society, and they somehow have an insight into the groups that want to abuse the technology, knowing that they shouldn't. And what I mean by abusing technology is maybe we don't know what's on the other side of a wormhole or or how to control a black hole, or like the individuals that started the first atomic weapons um, uh, testing. There was a fear that it would do a cascade effect and they would burn the entire atmosphere off the earth, because the shattering, the breaking of the atomic bonds would keep shooting out other electrons and protons, and the neutrons would start impacting other atoms, and it would just and they did it anyway. And there's a possibility that interdimensionality, chaos theory, string theory, dark matter, dark energies, black holes, nanotech, biotechnology. Like, there's a possibility that messing with these things might release some horrible side effects that we aren't, that given enough time, we would be okay with, but there might be it's the classic comic book villain uh, classic comic book villain motivation. They think I'm an idiot. They don't realize my brilliance. I'm going to, use the experiment on myself, and everyone's like, "No, don't do that." And they jump in a machine, turn on a device, travel somewhere, whatever, and then it just gets out of hand, and the player characters might have to rein that in. Now, it could be that our player characters are using the very tech that's out of control to control the stuff that's getting out of control. Like they might be the fight fire. You have to fight fire with fire. So the players might have access to a higher level of technology within this world, even if it is a high tech world. Maybe they have the ability, like maybe faster than light travel isn't possible except in a limited way, and someone is trying to test out faster than light travel. And it could be anything from folding space to warp tunnels to something, and the players may have access to it, and to use it to go after other people who, like, there may be the idea that, hey, if you use faster light travel, you could literally be ripping out the damaging the rules of our own physics in our own world, because you are, I don't know, semi-transport, you're folding space and transporting yourself to another world where physics doesn't operate the same, and it could be spreading or something like that. And we can always, yeah. He said, "Nah." Drew's like, "No, I didn't get any superpowers from the Rona vaccine either. Tech panic is mostly silly." Now, I'm not saying that there is a propensity of people who don't know much about technology to do a blanket statement that using this technology, period, is horrible and no one should ever use it. An example would be cloning technology. And yeah, there horror stories that someone is thinking in their mind about using cloning technology. Sure, could you know clone an ex-girlfriend, or clone a uh, powerful popular superstar, or clone a relative, and they don't know that this was a storyline in all things. A Kryptonian Superman, wearing a T-shirt, right? Because it reminded me of myself. Of a storyline where in ancient Krypton, one of the relatives of the what would become the Kal-El, Jor-El family, the L family, used cloning technology to clone their own relative, raised them in their basement, and had a intimate relationship with a parent that was cloned. Nasty stuff. But those are horror stories of, say, cloning technology. A narcissist that clones themselves over and over and over again. And there was an old television show called Century City where they talked about cloning technology. An individual was a gentleman was raising a small child. Come to find out, that child, that young man he was raising, 8 years old, 9, 10, was actually a clone of himself. So it wasn't his son. He was actually raising his brother, which brought in the gentleman's parents, who now there was a dispute because this person used illegal cloning technology from another country, and they were in a legal dispute. Do the parents of the gentleman that cloned himself to raise a this young man as his child, do they now have two children? One that's in like their 30s and another one that's 10 years old, and who has custody and stuff? It was a whole big thing. And so technology could get out of hand, and the players may need to, like, socially, legally, economically, um, figure out how this technology that's being, air quotes, abused fits into our new realm. For example, if there is a highly advanced, I don't know, brain implant that's like our cell phone. You plug it in your brain. It's like your cell phone. It jacks into your brain. You don't need to use a cell phone at all. This device just lets you overlay things in your vision. You just hold your hand up and you have your own keyboard and the whole 9 yards. And everyone's like, yay. But then someone can hack that information. They can look through your eyes. They can hear what you hear. They can download your memories and photographs and things you've seen and things like that. And it's like, well, the technology isn't terrible, but there's someone abusing access to that technology. So should everyone get rid of it, or do we just put hard limits on how do we protect ourselves from it? And so, yeah, I'm kind of, I know you're joking there, Drew, but which is fun because I love our sarcasm on this channel, because what is it? Comedy is tragedy plus time, and that's kind of what we're talking about here, because we love our sci-fi discussions and dissertations and things, and I think that has a lot to do with it, about, like, maybe the technology, fusion technology probably isn't bad, but I could see bad actors going like, yeah, Obsidian Star Lawyer Edition, fight legal battles about jackets and clones. Yeah. Sir, when did you meet the clone of yourself? Well, it was 3 months ago. I was walking down the street and I saw someone that looked exactly like me. So I followed them and I found out that they were having these secret meetings and they all looked exactly alike. And they looked exactly like me. And then I found out I was a clone and that the real me was having these I don't know, uh conclaves, and that the person who was the real me let me go to operate his real life so he could engage in these, like, I don't know, narcissistic clubs or something. I mean, it could be all kinds of really weird, strange things like that. I love it. I love it a lot. Um, there could be an aftermath of tech time bombs as well. I think the aftermathing of a thing might be more interesting than putting the thing back in the Pandora's, you know, box. So, aftermathing. A black hole now exists. Antimatter now exists. Someone's able to harness dark matter, or heck, even someone figures out how to elevate or ascend human beings so that we have, like, mental powers or strange mutations or something like that. And something could be, the side effect of a thing could be out of control. Like launching tungsten rods from the upper atmosphere and using them to bombard someplace, and everyone goes, well, we understand that that's a functional weapon. Maybe you shouldn't be using that as a weapon. And it may be the player characters trying to trying to destroy or put hard limits on that, that technology by going out and literally running and gunning and then coming back to everyone and going, all right, everybody, chill. Let's just relax here. Uh, no more tungsten rods in orbit. No more aiming at other people over top of their countries or their habitats and launching these rods at them. We're not doing that anymore at all. And as a matter of fact, we are going to, you know, we're going to lay down the law. We're going to punch you in the throat if you keep on doing that kind of activity and stuff. And so that may be a thing. Also, the buying, selling, and trading of these technologies is also a hazard as well. Hard science fiction. You start getting into habitats on other moons and planets, and people wanting to go out into the Kuiper Belt and the Oort cloud and such. And hey, Vince, just realized I'm always here. Yeah, Vince. Uh, Unless you want me to rewind, which is fine. Let's go back to the beginning. Hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. So anyway, um, anything from interdimensional travel to time travel and the mistakes that happen with those technologies would be kind of fun. Fringe use this quite a bit with people. We the television show Fringe, many times we were introduced to the side effect first before we even knew what the technology was. The show Debris that I bring up quite a bit that nobody watched did a similar thing where uh, the concept from the television show Debris was that an alien spacecraft broke apart and the fragments of that craft were going to impact the earth in like a couple of years. And during that time, 2 3 4 years or whatever, um, organizations had cropped up to collect, harness, and control, even buy, sell, and trade the debris that came from this starship. Yeah, if it's like you should really just write a debris RPG, get it over with. Yeah, true. I like concepts like that. I like high concepts. Executions sometimes are horrible. We know that in our media, but there's some high concepts that are out there that are really cool, and I like that. Vince says, I suggest a cipher system. Here's the problem. You already got there first. So, yeah. Yeah. Deadman says the series House also does this. The consequences and the characters investigate what the cause is. Yeah. That's actually thank you very much for bringing that up because I hadn't thought about that. For those who are unfamiliar with the show House, and I think it went on for like 8 seasons or something, was a doctor who, and like most procedural investigation television shows, this was a show where we only saw the side effects first of patients with medical afflictions, and then they worked backwards to figure out what the cause was. So there could be, let's say there's a propensity for a number of clones to show up. Identical people around the world showing up, and everyone's like, where'd they come from? And then tracing it backwards. Did they come from like some kind of weird quantum mechanical device that was activated? Are they literally clones that woke up that were supposed to be they weren't supposed to have a memory, but they escaped their imprisonment? Is this some weird narcissist that's using a project, or an artist that thought it would be funny to make clones of random innocent people and release them on the world or whatever? Who knows? And so the players might be investigating, like, the proverbial, we detect radiation or tachyon fields or graviton waves. Go out there, investigate to see what the hell's going on, and then hilarity ensues, right? Vin says, I got there first. I won't lie. I won't use it in the future anymore. Cypher was not very good for long-term play, sadly. It breaks on higher levels. Okay. Okay, I get that. And that can be an issue with a lot of tabletop role-playing games. If maybe we can get into some philosophical tabletop role-playing design. Maybe we'll get into something like that at some point in the future. in the near future, talking about like that's one issue with rules light systems, that they tend to have a limit in how far you can push them in terms of extended gameplay. And some work out really well. Others you go like, one shot, three shot, this is good, but extended play, no. Yeah, Vince brings up Numenera. Yeah, Numenera game had to clone herself. She had it too without knowing. Yeah, that'd be kind of really weird to have a retrovirus that makes clones of yourself. And I love like tweaking strange. I think having very strange um side effects from technology would make it much more interesting than what we expect to have happen. So an example would be Star Trek played with this idea with the transporter system, where I think it was TNG, the Next Generation. Riker, our main one of our main characters, Riker, gets transported off of a planet. Of course, there's interference, and they can't zoom in on him, and they finally get him, and they transport him to the ship, and they leave. But little did they know that they made a copy of Riker because the original Riker maybe was left behind, or vice versa. A copy was left behind. And so there were two Rikers living in the world, one that was left behind and kind of pissed off and became kind of a space pirate or something. And then the other one that came back on the ship. And so maybe folding space or wormholes or things like that, maybe the person's like, I never left the planet. You guys left me. And they're like, wait a minute, but we just launched you off into another galaxy. And they're like, that wasn't me. Like, what do you mean? I never left. And they're like, well, we did send somebody and that person came back, you know. Yeah, basically a zombie virus, but it turns them into clones of a specific person. Ooh, that'd be kind of nasty to have your flesh slough off, and you slowly start turning into somebody else, and maybe even your brain starts acting like them, and you're like, I don't like chocolate ice cream. Yeah. Deadman says, Margaret Weiss, maybe the creator of Cipher System, was a huge fan of first and second edition D&D, which had loads of secondary activities to allow players to go beyond the low levels without breaking the system. Yeah, and that's an issue with game design, right? Like extended play and advancement. Like, what behaviors do you reward, and what kind of reward systems are there? And if those reward systems are letting characters become better at a thing, how do you challenge characters that become better and better? So yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, Vince says you could do some interesting detective plots with alien tech. Yep, as a twist for that. Gumshoe is kind of good for that. Yeah, Gumshoe is Gumshoe. Let me look this up. Gumshoe RPG OGLS. Let's see if they have one. Pelgrane Press. It does have a system reference document, but as a result of the Hillfolk Kickstarter, Gumshoe is now available under the Creative Commons 3.0 attribution license, unported license. What does that mean? What does that mean? 3. Uh, does that mean you can CCBY 3.0 says you can share, you can adapt, attribution, no additional restrictions. Really? I thought 4.0 was that one. What am I missing? I'm not reading it too deeply. So sorry. Looking at oh, this is an older version of license compared to previous versions. The 4.0 versions of all CC license are more user-friendly and more internationally robust. If you're licensing your own work, we strongly recommend you use the 4.0 license. Okay. All right. Thank you for giving me that information. Thank you. Sorry, I love finding OGL SRDs out there, because they're good starting points, and I think I'm going to try to make. I anyway, Obsidian Star, crossing it over amongst a number of different um, OGL SRD systems, so that you could play in the same world using different play methods, which I think would be very different because you don't often see that. Um, yeah, yeah, Vince. So another technological time, other ways to incorporate technological time bombs um, could be a high tech version of the fantasy version of um, a ritualistic downfall. Let me get more specific because I'm not finding the right words to describe this. So in fantasy gaming, there are many fantasy games where the use of magic itself is very dangerous, and that if you continue to use that magic system, you're following dark gods. You're using magic that comes from other realms of existence, or you have to make pacts with demons or devils or whatever, and that using that magic at a certain point, you will there will be some kind of backlash and a cost to your soul when using that magic. The very same thing could apply to technology. This has actually been used before in many cyberpunk systems. So Shadowrun, Cyberpunk 2020, and derivations of that. The more cyber technology you incorporate in your body, the less humane you become. In Shadowrun, it was more like the more cybernetics you got in your body, the less you could access mana and magical abilities. And then in Cyberpunk, which doesn't have any magical abilities at all, your humanity would reduce down. And so this may be a cost to the player characters and society itself, that using this technology has a cost on life and liberty. For example, we know that currently when we send people into space, that the low gravity, the zero gravity or microgravity, has an effect on our bone structure, our muscular structure. There is a physical cost to doing a thing. So players using nanotechnology and high energy, waves and energy weapons and cloning technology and mind altering technologies might make them badasses, but at a certain point, maybe players completely forget some parts of their life and can never get those memories back. Maybe their genetic structure starts breaking down because they keep using the biotechnology. Maybe the instant transporting system, they lose a piece of themselves literally when they arrive on the other end, like their pinky fingers and ring fingers are now stuck together, or they arrive on the other end and they lose an eyeball or whatever, right? And it could have this could be like a random table, which would be even more nasty. That, oh, no, you can use that technology, sure, but guess what? It's going to have a pretty detrimental effect the more you use it. And let me pick a random die. Let's say use a D10. Every time you use it, you keep adding a 1. So now you're at level 3 for drawback or whatever. Level 4, and roll a D10. If you roll below equal or below that number, you have some kind of drawback effect, like a mutation or some other kind of loss, or being irradiated, or whatever the case might be. Heck, that accidental clone that's out there, that's you, might kind of hate you right now for what you did. Um, those would be pretty interesting side effects for players that are out there like, we're here to do good things or adventure, and you realize that they're leaving a wake of unintended destruction behind them over time. Yeah. Vince says you simply had some abilities that became free later on, and that simply makes most challenges trivial. Yeah, if you can permanently teleport or fly without any cost, and these are harmless, and those are harmless examples. Yeah. Vince says you could make it so that specific technology simply goes wild when you use it too much. Gray goo, yep. Cyber Psychosis, Unlock Super AI. Cyber Psychosis, that was from a Cyberpunk 2020, yeah, and other versions of that. But yeah, Cyber Psychosis, yep, hell yeah. Maybe the technology and the players might. Okay, so this is a really good world building thing where the people who are already suffering from the out of control or who have caused the out of control technology is why it needs to be policed, but it can only be policed by people who are actually using it to stop those individuals, and the players themselves might be agents that are also on the fringe, like, kind of martyred. Yep. Yeah, Vince says random mutations are a very popular version of that trope too. Yep. Ran any nuclear after the fall random mutation kind of falls into that. I think, what was it? Metamorphosis Alpha was one of the early ones. Metamorphosis Alpha and what was the Dungeons and Dragons? It was they dipped their toe from Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, and then it became I can't remember the name of it. Well, all right. Vince says maybe you have an AI on you, but you use it AI on you, but to use it, you have to give it more freedom to use its potential, but give it too much and it goes wild. Hell yeah. I love that. And you know what? Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue too. I was about to say Mega World. Mutant. Damn it. Come on, you guys. Don't make me look this up. Oh man, yeah. Not Spelljammer. No. Okay, what? D&D what nuclear waste RPG from the 80s. Come on, it was a post-apocalyptic game, and it's come on, it's someone's got to write it down here. Damn it, 80s. Come on, you guys. Gamma World. Damn it. It's Gamma World. Sorry. Yes, thank you very much. I know you got it beforehand because it wouldn't have shown up. There is a delay. Gamma World. Yes, Gamma World. Although, to be honest with you, there is a very funny Vince says, I remember without Google. Yeah, look at you, folding your arms and pouting like this. Who's the man? This guy. Who's got two thumbs and pointing at themselves? This guy, right? Yeah, Gamma World was was the one, and yeah. It's just a matter of coming up with adequate costs for things. I think um more so outside of Dungeons and Dragons, but we see a lot of games where there is a cost for doing a thing, and I like I'm just that good. Yeah, hells yeah. Um there there is a cost for doing a thing, and I like putting in the player's hands a cost for doing such a thing. And further making that more important, if with since we're talking about Fermi Paradox and technological time bombs, um, showing the players the end result of what their downfall would be, and then playing in a world where they have to navigate through other people's downfalls and mistakes and hubris, and the players are on the cusp of going that way, I think is really fun. So an example would be like thumbs up for Vault Boy Vince. Yeah, Vault. Yeah. What was we talked about Fallout, not too deeply, but we talked about the Fallout television show and video game. Yeah, Dead Man says yes. There's Dark Sun. Yep, there's Dark Sun. Yep, it's based on Faerun as a post-apocalyptical setting, and prior to that, it actually was physically represented on the Greyhawk map. For those who don't know, that Dark Sun existed in Greyhawk before it was ever called Dark Sun, and it existed on the other side of the Barrier Peak Mountains. I don't know why I remember this, but there was a cataclysmic event known as the Rain of White Fire that was in the corner of the Greyhawk map. Let me see. Map of Greyhawk with Rain of White Fire. Yep, Sea of Dust, Rain of White Fire, Rain of Colorless Fire. Rain of Colorless Fire. Let's see if let me pull up a map here and share this out. But yeah, we're getting to the end here, so we always got to get a little get a little rambunctious, I guess would be my way of doing it. So the sandy area of this map of Greyhawk was the location of when Greyhawk was at its heyday, its highest, was the Sea of Dust and the Rain of Colorless Fire, and there was never any explanation for it, and eventually turned it into Dark Sun, but then they moved it away from Greyhawk and it became its own thing. So technically Greyhawk moved from one dimension to another, I guess, or a piece of it. So yeah. Vince says, not sure how much I like random mutations anymore. It piles up very fast, and lots of random tables are very silly or game breaking, positive or negative. You have to have the proper tool, right? So you don't want to make random tables. Should absolutely be the proper tool for the proper usage, right? So do you want a parabola table? Do you want an even numbered table? Do you want things on the table that fit or don't fit? And that kind of thing. So yeah. Mutant Year Zero is kind of silly, but plays serious. You're a humanoid. You're a humanoid duck. There's one. Oh man. There's an After the Fall game that's like extremely tongue in cheek, and like you can play a cockroach. You can play a cream filled pastry. You can play a what they call a UFO, which is like a an alien, a UFO, but they're just called UFOs, things like that. Yeah, not all random tables are made equal. Yeah, tables, random or otherwise, should always be the appropriate tool. Yeah, Dead Man says Greyhawk is Earth, not Faerun. No, I know that. No, that's what I'm saying. Dark Sun, before it became Dark Sun, existed in Greyhawk. When they named it Dark Sun, they moved it over to Faerun as a post-apocalyptic version of it, but it first existed on Greyhawk's map. Like there was a whole I could if I could it'd be hard to show you, but I could show you how it was like there was anyway. I'm old grognard. This is All That Glitters RPG module. See if I All That Glitters Wikipedia. This was one of the first adventures that went into Dark Sun before it became Dark Sun, known as Dark Sun. Yeah, an adventure module published in 1984. Can you guys see it? Yeah. And it basically is I suppose you could claim that it is arcanotech that went wrong. So a wizard. Let's see if I can click. I can't make it any bigger. Yeah, it's not getting any bigger. Anyway, within the game, the adventure, a wizard created what is technically a transport system to get through the Barrier Peak Mountains to get to the other side of the Rain of Colorless Fire. And the transport system breaks down and the PCs need to use it as a dungeon to get to the other side to find this very valuable treasure. And yeah, yep. So, but yeah, there is a. Let me close that out. Share this instead. But yeah, that's. Let me see what the. I'm going to go to Sea of Dust Greyhawk wiki. There it is, the Sea of Dust. Hell furnaces, blah blah blah. Let me see if it shows. Publishing history. There we go, under the bibliography. There's all that glitters down there. Um, mm, mm, mm. See, I'm trying to find. Here we go. There is, like, for example, in the publishing history, it says there has been little more information published since then in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer and elsewhere. The detail about Thri-kreen packs was mentioned in Thri-kreen of uh, Athis, which has a short section on the Thri-kreen of Oerth. So basically, Dark Sun left one dimension and went to another one. It was just it was just a retcon, right? But yeah. But yeah, there's the Sea of Dust is the progenitor of see, will it let me do it? No, won't let me do it. Yeah, Sea of Dust was a progenitor for Dark Sun. Boop, 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 which is kind of cool. It's kind of that's a different. I don't know how to explain it. It's like there's like this way to track back Dungeons and Dragons history. It's kind of cool. Um, Sea of Dust sounds like a prime target for a vacuum door-to-door salesman. Yeah. Hey, you're gonna need those on Mars. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for letting me let me go off a little bit on I know everything from like CCBY attributions 3.0 but really we were talking about technological time bombs and talking about Fermi Paradox and using hey, yeah, have a great one there, Vince. Using the Fermi Paradox filters as a way for us to world build. And I think technological time bombs is kind of cool. As a matter of fact, you could even come up with various, interesting reasons why these time bombs even exist in the first place. Meaning, like, is it an alien signal that has sent this information to people and people are abusing it? Are there governments and things? Too much sand, try water for your water filter. You actually kind of need sand for those things. But what is it? Water is what is it? Layers of sand and charcoal, sand and carbon, something like that, um, to make a true water filter. I've got a sand filter on my swimming pool, which reminds me because I haven't opened up my pool yet, and I'm going to start doing that today. I've got a day off, so a rare one, but I have a lot to do. I got my honeydew list, so I'm getting ready. So, guys, have a great one. Thank you very much for being part of the show. I hope you're inspired to. I hope you use different things to inspire you when you're stuck for ideas. We always need something for mind fuel, and what I like about the thought processes of the Fermi paradox, meaning if you do the math, we should see life everywhere in our universe and we don't see any. There should be some evidence and we don't see any evidence. So why is that? And I like there's dozens and dozens of reasons why people come up with reasons for us not seeing um, alien life. And in a hard science fiction, which I fall more towards hard science fiction, we don't need aliens at all. It could just be that there are aspects of our own society that as we start to move towards other planetary surfaces and become a multi-planet society, that the Fermi paradox becomes more apparent as we leave ourselves. And I think that's kind of a cool idea as well. Drew says, I also have a free day, Labor Day in Germany, and I think most of Europe. I did not know that. Oh, I did not know that. When is our Labor Day? When is Labor Day in the U? Ours is going to be Monday, September 2nd. Ours comes later in the year. And I, not that it does, but I dare say it always seems to align with returning to school and teachers coming back to the classrooms and things like that. So our Labor Day comes much later. Although I could see it being celebrated now for the summertime. Like work's done. Hey, it's time to have fun in the summertime. But ours is more like a back to work kind of thing. Yep, first Monday in September. Reminds Americans of the importance of workers' rights and offers them a day of well-earned rest. I guess it does, but then we have other. We wouldn't want to move it because then we have like Memorial Day and Independence Day and things like that. So, and then people who are like anti Juneteenth, who are, I don't know, inconsiderate assholes or proud of their ignorance, because my people weren't free on Independence Day. It took another like 90 years for that to happen. So yeah, our Independence Day is a whole lot different than United States Independence Day from Europe. Fist in the air, sarcasm. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys just being here. And please, if any of you who are listening or taking part in the show passively, say a couple of words, and we'll see if we'll come up with a subject matter for a couple days or five to hash out maybe some of your ideas as well. So, guys, have a great one. I'm not going to hold you too long. Your time is very valuable. Thank you very much for spending it here. I hope I'm able to make change in your tabletop role playing careers. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great one. I'll see you later. Peace. I'm out.